I'd like to conclude by telling you about this great project former WikiLeaks central editor and author of Binding Chaos, a book that's available down there, Heather Marsh is building called GetGee, G-E-T-G-E-E, all one word as it appears on the slide. I think it could help us solve those problems where we need audiences, journalists need audiences to be hit more viscerally by the stories to take action. Heather Marsh is the writer and programmer, and GetGee is a universal database and trust network. And I think if we can support it or help find support for it, whether that's programmers or funding, the project has a very strong potential of really upgrading what activists can do in the future when people such as Jeremy Hammond unearth misdeeds or connections between corporate wrongdoing and malevolent actors. As a universal database, GetGee handles 5 fundamental entity types: people, events, things, organizations, and ideas. Just as the ocean and ozone layer are in the global commons, so these database information nodes would be owned in common globally. These 5 entity types form the foundation of the meaning we make at higher levels of the database through levels of analysis she calls constellations and galaxies. The important thing to understand is that GetGee decouples these 5 data entities from corporate software. So for example, this talk is an event that was promoted on Facebook and Twitter. We were at the mercy of 2 Silicon Valley corporations as to whether we could share tonight's event. There was an event page on Facebook, there were tweets on Twitter, but if the tech billionaires didn't like it or anything else, they could shut it down. I think any activist can relate to the fear that the social media corporations are going to silence you. OnlineCensorship.org is a really good resource with plenty of examples of activists and other posts getting wrongly censored. When people, events, things, organizations, and ideas are information nodes that anyone can create and work on, then they all belong to us, and our progress working on them is not at the mercy of tech billionaires or anyone else. So GetGee allows that, and it also allows the option of using trust networks to filter information. That helps deal with the Metal Gear astroturfing spam machinations Barrett Brown found as documented in the H.B. Gary files. So next time someone such as Jeremy Hammond comes along with a big leak, with GetGee, that data can be easily uploaded into source media nodes and relationships mapped to be used as a resource for all researchers and journalists. Any outside person could create and link different constellations containing other information, making research much faster and more productive. We would have the data in a permanently usable format in a global commons for us to build from, instead of unusable wall of text articles everywhere in a private database for select journalists. Instead of tweets flying everywhere like tennis balls distracting everyone with new article installments that contain trivial updates or no updates at all, we would be working together to create in-depth knowledge. People could even build apps based on the hack leak data because the information nodes are decoupled from the software. You could create whatever software you want to interact with the nodes. There was a case a few years ago where an indie developer made an iPhone app that would notify users every time the US killed people with a drone. Apple shut it down. I think they said it was too disturbing or something like that. With GetGee, we wouldn't be dependent on Apple and we wouldn't have to go through them to create an app. It's just, say one human rights organization is contributing the research to the GetGee event nodes for drone strikes, then someone else comes along and says, hey, that's interesting. I'm going to make a free software app that every time a drone strike happens, post a message about how to BDS the US. Sure, one app might get taken down if it's trying to publicize the info on some proprietary platform, but because the nodes are in a global commons, the whole work isn't lost. The structure is an ecosystem where another app could take its place. So you can see how replaceable front-end software apps interacting with global data commons could really invigorate the news such that reading it affects you viscerally when apps are made that show you how to take action based on that information. My understanding is that GetGee needs funding and programmers skilled in IPFS or React, so if you have those things, go to that website up there and get in touch with that team. I think I'll stop here and take questions, if there are any.